Good afternoon, everyone. This is Representative Dela Cruz. Really excited here to be here today because we're going to talk about this November election coming up. And it's Tuesday, November 2nd. It's a municipal election, so you're going to be voting for your council, your RTM, your Board of Education. And it's a big election. We know of all the money that's going to be coming down to our town and how important it is to get it right to the areas that need it. And the Board of Education is going to play a huge role in that. And we hope that you can come out and support our candidates. I'm voting row A all the way. It's loaded with a lot of great folks. I'm sure you're going to get to see a lot of people speak and tell you a little bit about themselves. But I personally met all of them. I'll be voting for all of them. I'm really excited to move this ticket forward. And Groton has a lot of good things coming. Coming out of this pandemic, we've seen how difficult it can be around the country when school boards don't act in a manner that is good for the kids. It creates divisiveness. And school boards now, it's a challenge to serve on boards like this. But in Groton, that hasn't been the case because we have a strong school board that always took the kids and put them at the highest cause or need. And we hope that this new board will continue to do that. And again, there's 5 of them. Tuesday, November 2nd, I'm going to keep saying it because it's important. Municipal elections sometimes aren't as voted as a presidential, but it's important to get out. I do want to especially mention the town council. We talked about Board of Education, but the Board of Education won't receive the funding they need if the town council doesn't approve it. There are 2 bodies that work towards the same goal. And again, this council, I think we've seen what they've done. They have moved Groton forward, whether it's economic development or continuing to fund our schools and our police. This is a group of folks that will continue to do those things. And I'm really looking forward to voting for all of them. And, it's hard to find 9 people that you trust with running anything. And I actually was able to do that with these folks. I feel comfortable and I'm excited. So don't forget this Tuesday, November 2nd. It's a huge window. If you're not registered to vote, you're new to town. We have a lot of military that comes and goes. If you're not registered, you have the opportunity to go into the Groton Human Resources building and you can actually vote on election day. That's how we expanded some of these voting laws that allow you to do that. So hopefully we see you guys there. I'm really looking forward to it. You'll probably see me out there standing on the polls that day. Come out and meet the candidates, and we'll see you on November 2nd. Good seeing you guys.
Hi and hello. My name is Bruce Jones, and I am running for town council here in the town of Groton. I'm currently the RTM member for District 7 in the town, and I've been here about 5 years. I've done a lot of volunteer stuff in the town, and I'm running to increase my involvement. I've learned a lot being on the RTM and have enjoyed it a lot, and also doing volunteer work. I've worked with the trails, I've done cleanup in the city, all kinds of different things, so it's been a lot of fun. I'm primarily running on sort of 3 different issues that I'm sort of out there with. One is open space, which you will see me do. If you look on Facebook, you'll see me out there cutting grass all the time. And so we have tremendous open space and trails here in the town, and it proved really critical during COVID. It was one of the things that we could do. We could go outside, and we noticed all the trails went from grass down to dirt. So we want to keep those strong. We have town trails, state trails, GOSA trails, and Avalonia trails. It's a great system, and I encourage everybody to get out there and do it, and you'll probably see me out there cutting the grass. I'm a small business person. I've been a small business person for 35 years, and primarily I had my own graphic design business. I'm an author, and I'm a product developer, and I think small business really can be an anchor, a community. It gets great jobs, it does all kinds of things. So I'm really supporting that, trying to make that process as easy as possible and continue with economic development and make that process smooth. And my final area is we have one of the best senior centers in the state, if not the country. It's award-winning. We have great programs, great recreation, all kinds of things for people, and we want to keep that strong and going. I go to the senior center. It's a great place to activities and do things. So I'm running for town council. I hope to have your vote in November, and I'm looking forward to doing more volunteering and serving you.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Edward Chacombe. I'm a Democratic candidate for Town Council. I'm just introducing myself. I'm actually a native here to Groton. I attended Fitch High School and Fitch Middle. I graduated from Fitch High School in 14, then went up to Norwich University and graduated in 18. Came back, actually worked on Bob Statchin's state senate campaign. I've been a volunteer for Chris Connolly and Joe Delacruz's campaign. I recently worked as an assistant clerk for the Connecticut General Assembly for the Veterans Affairs Committee. And some of my top three priorities, obviously, there's more than one, but the ones that they boil down to are the COVID response, economic growth, and infrastructure. So that's a little bit about me, and hope to see you at the doors. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, Edward Chacombe for Groton. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rachel Franco, and I'm running for Town Council. I'm a resident of Groton, lifelong resident. I've graduated from Fitch, and my family has decided to settle here. So I'm running for Town Council because I want to finish the work that I started. I've been a two-term councilor, and I'm hoping to get on my third. I have created the Beautification Committee and to bring beauty to our community, which is doing great work. I've shared pictures on social media regarding the annex and Sutton Park, the town hall, and they have plans for the intersection of 117 and Route 1. I'm also wanting to campaign to bring economic development to the downtown Groton area. I would think we should work with commercial realtors and the business owners, property owners, and try and bring in more restaurants and retail so we could become the community that we once were, thriving with much retail and restaurants. I'd also campaigning on infrastructure, where I think we really need to fixate on fixing our bridges, our assets, our town buildings, bringing them back up to the quality they should be. Also, I'm an advocate for sports fields in the community. We have a very large shortage, and I'm working with the Sports Field Task Force to find great ways to improve that. And I'm also an advocate for public safety because I think one of the most important things in a community is to be safe, and that's why people would want to live. And that's one of the things you check to see if I want to live in this community, is it a safe community? And I think that's very important. So I'm Rachel Franco, and that's just a few of the items that I think are very important to our community and that I'm wanting to work towards and finish the work I started. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Melinda Casseri and I'm running for Town Council. I'm a 35-year-old married mother of two. I have a 7-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter. I've lived here in Groton for 10 years. My husband and I could not be more thrilled to be raising our family in Groton. Before stepping away from my career to raise my family, I volunteered as a firefighter while going to school full-time and working part-time as a security guard and waitress. After earning my degree, I became a police officer until stepping away to raise my family. Most importantly, I'm a mom, and I would be the only town councilor with elementary age students. Having the perspective of a parent on the council is vital to ensuring that our children are considered in all decisions about Groton. I currently serve on the RTM, I'm the town council liaison, I serve on the public safety committee, and I'm on the civilian oversight research committee. I hope I have earned your vote. Thank you.
Hello, Groton. Andre Bumgardner here, seeking my third term to the Groton Town Council. Previously served as state representative for the 41st District, also served on the City Planning and Zoning Commission, serve on the SEAT Board of Directors, as well as the Trails Coordination Task Force. I'm very excited to be seeking re-election with the Row A Democratic team. First and foremost, our council must focus on addressing climate change here in Groton. Groton is expected to face 20-inch sea level rise by 2050, and we need to continue taking great steps to focus on resiliency, investing in infrastructure, building our seed walls, continuing to significantly invest in acquiring open space, as well as working with our various sustainability groups to ensure that our next generation understands the great importance of addressing these critical issues. Additionally, our council, and myself included, are committed to focusing on science, ensuring that our children during this pandemic don't have to worry about politics in our classroom, that they feel safe and secure to learn masked, and we will support our Board of Education to ensure that the health and wellness of our children are first and foremost. Additionally, focusing on accountability. We are the policy-making body of the town. It isn't town staff, it is us. And so we need to hold our great team accountable and ensuring that future development agreements are constructed in a way that put our community first. Lastly, want to continue to focus on social justice issues, especially issues of policing, ensuring that we have a robust community policing system, but that they attend the needs of our very diverse community. Groton was one of the first communities within southeastern Connecticut to put body cameras on our police officers, and that is an important reform measure, but we need to continue making progress on that front. Lastly, but certainly not least, very honored to be serving with a very diverse team, Democratic team. This is the first year where we've seen a significant number of young people running on our ticket, minorities running on our ticket, and women running on our ticket, and we need to continue taking those steps into ensuring that our elected body reflects the great diversity of our community. So I hope you join me in supporting the Row A team on Tuesday, November 2nd, and I hope you'll support me on Row 5A. Thank you, and have a great day.
Good afternoon, Groton. My name is David McBride, and I'm a candidate for the Town Council. I appreciate if you consider voting for me in the upcoming election on Tuesday, November 2nd. Some of the reasons I believe I would make a good counselor are the following. 1, my experience. 2 is my knowledge in the critical areas that I think will be utilized if I'm elected to Town Councilor. And 3 is the objectives I will pursue if elected to Town Council. Number 1 is my experience. I have over 30 years of experience in various areas. I'm the current Finance Director of the City of New London. I'm the past Finance Director for the Mohegan Tribe for over 20 years. I'm a business owner of 5 restaurant franchises. I'm the founder and the current Vice President of the James Greenlee Memorial Trust Fund. And I'm the past President and Treasurer of the Borough of Groton Long Point. Number 2 is my extensive knowledge in the following areas. 1 is municipal finance. This relates to the accounting, financial statements, extensive budgeting experience, and tax-exempt financing. Secondly is my economic development experience. Several economic development areas, including small business development, financial analysis, and pro formas to make sure making sound economic development decisions. I also have a strong familiarity with Robert Rules of Order, and I think that's necessary to make sure that we conduct town council meetings appropriately. I also have a few other areas of some interest. I have nonprofit experience and extensive experience in union negotiations. The third area is the objectives and the focus areas if I am to be lucky enough to be elected. 1 is I will perform a detailed review of all of the aspects of the budget. That includes operating, capital, and all the financing needs for the town. Number 2 is the development of the long-term cash flows for the town. I believe currently municipalities focus on year-over-year decisions, and I'd like to implement a 10-year cash flow similar to what we've done in New London, where we review the cash flow on a quarterly basis to make sure we're making decisions that are in the best long-term interests of the town. My third priority would be a smart economic development growth. I am in support of increasing the tax rolls. I believe that's a major impact to decreasing the mill rate or offering other services to residents. However, that does need to be done in the interest of the communities where economic development is being made. So I think all parties need to be involved with those decisions. And as a counselor, I tend to make sure we pursue that. I also believe in increased opportunities for residents and businesses, such as housing, affordable housing, increased food development, other areas, small business development growth, and other objectives for both residents and businesses. Lastly, I think we need to focus on some long-term infrastructure upgrades. This will take several years, but if I'm elected, I'll continue to pursue that initially in the form of increased telecommunications, broadband, internet, and other areas. Thank you, Grant, for considering me for your vote. I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Juliet Parker, and I'm running for re-election. I am a lifelong resident of Groton, and I have served as town councilor since 2017. Before that, I was on the RTM for 4 years for District 2, which is a representative town meeting. I was elected to that position. I am running for re-election because my life experience will continue to move Groton forward. As a professional woman and public servant, I've worked hard to ensure that I was doing what's best for me and my family and my community. While my girls were young, I completed my bachelor's in legal studies while working full-time and volunteering in my community. I believe in giving back, and hence why I'm running for re-election for the town of Groton. My key issues are more economic expansion. We have some wonderful business that have come into Groton, but I would love to see more mom and pop styles in Groton. We have big businesses, and thank you for bringing economic growth here. But I feel that we need to go back to our roots. Ensuring that we have all the goals for 2020 plan are followed through to benefit all, and the health and welfare of our community is very important to me. I want to support all our citizens, no matter the age, race, or gender. I value all and want to ensure that all have the support that they need to live here in Groton. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Juan Melendez Jr. and I'm running for re-election on the Town Council. I've been involved in local politics for the last 6 years. I did 2 years on the Water Pollution Control Authority, 2 years on the RTM, and my last 2 years on the Town Council. My work on the Town Council includes chairing the Workforce and Leadership Subcommittee on the DEI Collaborative, where we work with the HR department to improve the diversity of the town staff. Also, I work with Children's First Groton. That is a nonprofit organization that also works as the town school readiness council, where we help to ensure that children, before they get to Groton Public Schools, so birth through 5, have access to the best possible education that they can, so that when they get to kindergarten, they're ready to go. If re-elected in the next 2 years, I hope to make sure that the American Rescue Plan funds that we receive from the government are used to help people stay in their homes. So that's putting that funds to people who have fallen behind on their mortgages, fallen behind on their rent. I want to appropriate some of those funds to help those people stay in their homes. Also, to help people who might be struggling finding food. Those are the people who are most impacted by COVID, and I want to use those funds to help those people out. Also, I want to make sure that the Resilience and Sustainability Director, that position gets funded and we hire that person, because conservation as a coastal town, Groton is one of the most important things in the next 20-30 years for our town. One of the last things that is super important at the moment is our selling of all these old schools that we closed down. I know that's important to everyone. Every part of town has a school that's closed down, and it's very important for every neighborhood. And I think it's with the overhauled request for proposal process that the town has come up with, I'm confident that we can sell all of those properties to the best developers possible, and have an economic boom in Groton. So I hope you guys can come out and vote for the whole Democratic team on November 2nd. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Portia Bordelon, and I'm a 41-year-old mother of 2 children in the community, longtime Groton resident, active member of the Democratic Party. I have been an elected representative for just about 4 years. I was elected to the RTM in 2017, appointed to fill a vacancy on the town council in 2019, and elected to that seat later that same year. Since I've been on the council, I have served on the Public Safety Committee, Long-Term Recovery Committee, Athletic Task Force, and Short-Term Rental Task Force. Outside of public office, I also serve as a board member to the Noe Community Support Services, an organization that provides support for families and children in our region who are in need. As an elected representative, I constantly work to improve accessibility to support services and improve assistance in navigation of these services. I believe in creating environmentally responsible, sustainable, and community-rooted economic growth. I believe it is important that every district is represented fairly and equitably. I believe in supporting seniors, youth, the military, and their families. My record in public service can speak as a testimony to the courage and critical thinking I have brought and will continue to bring forward as an elected representative. I believe in government for the people, by the people. I believe in the guiding principles of transparency, accountability, accessibility, equity, and empathy. I believe it is our responsibility to preserve open space in relative proximity to population centers so that our communities feel more connected to nature for the folks who live there and provide moderating effect on temperature and dynamics. As an elected representative, I believe in my primary responsibility to give voice to the concerns and the interests of the constituents. In this duty, I promise to continue to be present, passionate, proactive, and persistent. I hope to have earned your support this coming Election Day, Tuesday, November 2nd. I will be on the ballot in position row 7A. I promise to continue to be your voice. Please consider giving me your vote. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ian Thomas, and I'm a Democrat running for Board of Education in the town of Groton. My mother was a teacher, my father was a Navy Master Chief, retired, and I grew up as a military dependent. So I understand the needs and experiences of a military dependent family. I'm now a certified state school teacher working for the Department of Corrections, and I serve on the RTM Education Committee, Public Safety Committee, as well as I was the chair of the Civilian Oversight Research Committee. But most importantly, I am a parent of a Fitch High School student, and as such, I understand the needs of parents in the community. I grew up in a household that valued education, and while I was not raised in Groton, I spent a lot of time traveling in and out of Groton, so I understand Groton. I've lived here now for about 5 years with my wife, Portia Bordelon, and the two children. Now, I attended Fishers Island High School, where I learned the benefits of smaller classes and experiential learning in a non-traditional fashion, and how that can combine in a very productive fashion with rigorous standards like the New York Regents. And after high school, I crafted a non-traditional path of my own. As I did not attend college directly, I worked on boats for a very long time. Traditional rigged sailboats, commonly known as tall ships, where I earned a 500-ton ocean master's license and worked as an experiential educator for students doing semesters at sea. I worked on those vessels for over 15 years before I transitioned back on shore, where I earned my bachelor's degree and my state certification as a teacher, and I carried my passion for education that I learned out on the ocean onto land. And that's when I became a teacher with the state of Connecticut and Department of Corrections, where I do GED instruction for inmates, and there I've come to understand achievement gaps and the problems they can cause for students. So one of the things I'd like to bring, if elected to the Board of Education, is working hard to close achievement gaps and improve workforce readiness in a real practical fashion, coordinating with ROTC and various other employers in the area and trade unions. And I would also like to see an improvement in more coordination between the Town Council and the Board of Ed in regards to improving school sports facilities and music and arts opportunities for students in the community as well. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Matthew Schulman. I'm a candidate for the two-year seat on Groton's Board of Education. My wife and I moved to Groton 8 years ago to be near our son, who works at EB. We arrived knowing nobody, but we were committed to living here and wanted to participate in community life. During my career in education and communications, I developed adult ed programs for local, state, federal, and international organizations. I also owned a consulting firm. At 62, I returned to school for training and service as an interfaith hospital chaplain, both in North Carolina and at L&M Hospital. Since arriving in Groton, I've been active with the Groton Community Meals, was appointed a Groton Justice of the Peace, and serve on Groton Public Library's Advisory Board. On my Facebook page, which is here, the lump with the red numbers, you can see the details of my career and note that everywhere I've lived, community involvement has been an essential part of my life. As transplants, we set about learning what's happening in Groton and our school district. I've regularly watched our school board and town council meetings. I've also profited from working as an occasional substitute teacher at Groton Middle School. Groton's economic future looks bright. The Groton New London area is on the cusp of becoming a wind energy hub, a transportation hub, a high-tech and scientific hub, and of course, continuing at EB in the subbase as a defense hub. The big question is, what decisions need to be made by our Board of Education to prepare all of our children to reap the benefits of the opportunities that are coming? All elementary schools teach reading, writing, and arithmetic, but Groton's new magnet school system lets parents choose the thematic focus of their children's primary education. At Groton's Middle and Fitch High School Consolidated Campus, our teams have more choices to prepare for their futures. Whether starting work or joining the military right out of high school, getting post-high school technical training, or going directly to college. I respectfully believe my prior professional experience and community experience will let me contribute as one of 9 school board members to evaluating and making decisions so each student can chart her or his personal path towards a financially secure and fulfilling life. Most of all, to be successful, I need your input. So please, check out my website, which is down below, or contact me with your comments and questions at the email address, which is down below. Thank you for watching and listening. I'm Matthew Schulman, and I'm a candidate for a 2-year term on the Groton Board of Education.
Hi, I'm Mike Whitney. I'm running for the Board of Education, and it's a pleasure to have this opportunity to speak to you. So I come to the Board of Education campaign with a number of perspectives. First of all, I've lived in Groton for 15 years. I also grew up in the area as part of a Navy family. I'm a school parent. My children are progressing through the Groton public school systems. My oldest is actually in Fitch now, which is hard for me to wrap my head around, given that the kindergarten memories are still crisp in my mind. So I bring that perspective of a parent to this opportunity. I'm also an educator. I'm a university professor who works here in Groton. I've dedicated much of my life to education. I know how important it is and transformative it can be in people's lives. As well, I've also served for the last 4 years on the representative town meeting for District 5 and also as the chair of the Education Committee. And in that capacity, I've worked on the education budgets for the last 4 years, and I know that in detail. And what I also appreciate from that community service is how important it is for everyone to come out, everyone to have input early and often. The stakeholder input from the community, from students, parents, teachers, and staffs for education issues is key. And to actually listen to that input, I think that's the root to the best decisions, and sometimes that's missed. And one element of transparency is easy access to meetings, both current and in the past, online and also in person. So as a Board of Education member, I would prioritize listening. As far as the budget goes, I know it's key to seek efficiencies and make sure the money is well spent and put forth towards prioritizing the key needs for the schools and for the students. And then the students is where I'm centered on, because student learning is the purpose of the school. Student education is the key purpose that we have to support. And a part of that is diversity. We have a wonderfully diverse community, and opening the Groton Public Schools, or the Groton Middle School now, bringing all the town together at an early age is a wonderful step forward. Our new school buildings are wonderful to see. They have wonderful facilities inside, And it's important that our town be good stewards of those buildings going forward, because the buildings are just buildings, but we need to keep excellent educators in there and help students excel. And along with that, one tenet of education that's very important to me is supporting special education, because that individualizes the educational experience to best support people as they grow in town through the schools, and they'll go on to make the community, our community, a better place. So I hope to see you out on the polls November 2nd, or vote by absentee ballot, and I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Beverly Washington, and I'm a candidate for the Groton Board of Education. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you about why I would like to run for the Board of Education. One reason I like to run for the Board of Education is I'm a big advocate of education. I believe that in the United States, our citizens should be educated in order for our country to grow and prosper. I would like our students to have everything that they need, so when they graduate from high school, that they are successful, whether they go to the workforce or go to college. I am in favor of more career readiness classes in our high school. I am in favor of a financial wellness class in our high school as well. I think financial education is very important nowadays, because when we retire, there's no more pensions, there's 401ks, so students early on need to learn how to manage their money. I am a retired teacher from the Department of Correction. I taught there for 21 and a half years. I taught math, science, social studies, reading, writing. My students were trying to get their GEDs. I taught teenagers and adults. The teenagers especially, I had to convince them why education was important. And education is important because it levels the playing field. It narrows the opportunity gap. It gives students a better opportunity financially and as far as getting a good job. So with that, I had to talk and talk and talk and finally convince them that education is important. I also am in favor of strengthening our K through third grade programs. I think K to 3 is the foundation of education. Just like when you build a house, you need a strong foundation. We need to make sure that our K to 3 grades are strong and our students are learning as much as they can. And if that means putting paraprofessionals in each K to 3 third grade classes, I'm in favor of doing that. I also like Councilor Portia Borderline. I would like to see a ROTC program up at the high school. I think that will benefit our students at the high school. I like to be a strong advocate for parents, for the community, for taxpayers. I want to make sure that as a board member, we are spending our money wisely, that we're doing everything we can to help the students be successful when they graduate from high school. So on November 2nd, please go out and vote. I hope that you will support me. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Mary Morrison School students and staff for being recognized as a Blue Ribbon, National Blue Ribbon School. And thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Katrina Fitzgerald, and I'm running for the Board of Education. This is the first video I'm going to do, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing right now and a little of my history. I was born and raised here. I raised 2 sons here, and they attended Groton Public Schools. Presently, I'm on the RTM. I served as the liaison for the Board of Education and RTM, and am now presently on the Education Subcommittee. From 2014 to 2019, I was on the Board of Education. While on the Board of Education, I was part of the Policy Committee and part of the Facilities and Finance Committee. So that's it briefly. Next week, maybe on Friday, we'll talk more about why I think I would make a good Board of Education member. Thanks.
Every election, just like every vote, counts. Too often people skip their local elections, believing they are less important than national and state contests. Nothing could be further from the truth. Unlike state and national elections, local elections have much more impact on the quality of your daily life. Here's why everyone should make the effort to vote on Tuesday, November 2nd in your city or town's local elections. It's all about you. The people you're voting for in a local election, town councilors, members of the RTM, Board of Education, are the ones who will determine the quality of your schools, roads, and neighborhoods, where buildings will be built, how your water and land will be used and protected, and most importantly, how your taxes will be spent. It's about access and accountability. The local candidates vying for these positions live in your area and are more interested in your concerns than state and national politicians who by necessity must focus on bigger picture issues. It's about progress. Local policy can lead to change at the state and national level. Big issues like gun laws, the minimum wage, and civil rights all started as local concerns. It's about the future. Many state and national candidates begin their careers on local boards, so who knows, the councilman that you help elect today could be tomorrow's senator or even president. Your vote is your voice. Don't waste it by missing an election. Make it a habit to vote every year in every election. Use your democracy. Vote, 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 and be well.